at 6:36, it looks like. We're all here, and John, if you would start recording.
All right, we're recording.
All righty. Everybody disappeared. Oh, that's funny. We're all coming back. It's okay.
Need a pad. All of a sudden I realized I'm secretary. Hey, I'm supposed to take notes.
You're
I do
supposed
this.
to take notes. That's right. Hi, Lori. Welcome to the group.
Hi.
Thank you.
Can you hear us, Lori?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just making sure. I think we're all good. Steve, you can hear?
Yep, absolutely.
Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, we're all here. So our first order of real business is to approve the minutes of 2/22/21. Does anybody have any edits or any objections? If not, we'll call them approved by acclamation. All right, approved by acclamation. And we've got a lot to do tonight. So we're going to get into, I'd like to do one thing. I'd like to add onto the line of online voting discussion, third-party vendor, if we could. Depending upon if we get a consensus on that after we get done looking at our NNE manual editing and updating, I'd like to talk to the board. Nancy asked me about this in an email, and she sent it to all of us about the whole thing of online voting. And I'd like to bring that back to them. And I'd also like to, I think it was a consensus, Lori, you weren't here, but I think that there was a consensus for us as a group that we wanted to use a third-party vendor again this year for the AGM, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll talk about that, but let's go ahead and get into our NNE manual editing and updating. I think most of it, and I don't know if anybody has any ideas which way to go. I didn't do anything with the cover, but I started on page 2. And I noticed that there wasn't, that when they did the last editing of the manual, they completely took out the counting room procedures and made them an addendum, but they never recognized it in the table of contents.
Nope.
And so I added that and the page that it goes on, but that's all I had for table of contents. I don't know if anybody else has any other comments. We're probably going to have to wait until we get done fully with our edit. And then we're going to have to come back and make sure that all of these pages are correct that are on here for, this is where these really start. Because sometimes if we add enough and flip a page, things will move a little bit. So we're going to have to remember to come back and do that when we're finally all done. On page 3, it deals with appendices. And it says samples from previous years may be included in the manual. I crossed that out. If we keep electronic forms, I think that's best. I'm not sure if that's how that one funky application got to me the last year, but I would just as soon have these kept somewhere by staff in an NNE folder at the admin office. I think that's really the best option. So I'd really like to take out that last sentence from the appendices where it says samples from previous years may be included in the manual. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I have one other
Sounds
thing
like
on
it
that
is.
page.
Okay.
Attorney opinions. I've never seen any of them. Has anybody
Well,
else? Am I
They're
missing?
kept in my N&E files, and I will be more than happy to send them to you. I've got lots of attorney opinions that have come through the board for the years, but these specifically deal with opinions. I think there may be one more from last year that deals with quorums because of that whole special election and the removal of the board of directors. So I may need to add that, and I'm going to put a note to myself to look for that opinion.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Are we looking at the draft that you have in the packet you sent us?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we ever get a link to?
It just gets too complicated. I know Nancy sent me one with her nitpickies, but I know that we're going to cover those pages anyway.
Mhm.
And so I just went ahead and just looked at all of this. So the next page is page 4. The definitions where it says commented A1, I recommend, I think that was Rich's comment to our manual. Because that came from the original copy that Rachel sent us. And so I think that comment where it says use what it says exactly in the bylaw. And so anyway, I put in there, and Nancy, I don't know how to do this. If you go look on the Sudden Valley website, when Oryx updated the N&E manual with the 2020 changes, she made it the 2021 bylaws, and it really should be, because that's what we're using right now. And it says the SVCA bylaws 2021, and then in parentheses, it says with 2020 updates from the 2020 election.
Let me look at what mine says. I looked at the one that was in this notebook we got. See, what I'm afraid of, Linda, is after the AGM, if anything gets passed in the way of a bylaw, those are 2021 bylaws too. And we will have two 2021 bylaws, and that's not something I want to deal with.
No, I think that's why she made that note. If you look on the Sudden Valley website.
Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. I'm in the board things. Bylaws, that's what I want to read.
Sure.
Yeah. Mine says.
Yeah, if you
SVA's
look,
bylaws.
it says SVCA. See, it says 2020, 2021, and that's on the what we got with our packets.
Yeah, but that doesn't refer to the
And
bylaws.
that's really what it is.
That refers to, this is when you got the book for the 2020, 2021 season. We got these at the beginning of the season. I don't believe that refers to bylaws. The bylaw reference is SVCA bylaws with 2020 AGM updates.
Yeah.
The other is just a note that says, okay, I put these out in your notebook for everybody who got a notebook for the 2020, 2021 season, or whatever administration, whatever you should call it.
So do you want, it's up to you. We could either say as defined in the bylaws 2020-2021, or do you want me to switch it back to 2020?
I think 2020 is safer because there's only one 2020, and there could
Okay.
easily be two 2021s.
Yeah, that's true. You never know if you'd have an SGM that had a bylaw change in it.
And I hope we
Okay.
do.
Does anybody have any, I'm going to warn you right now, I went away just a minute ago. Every now and then in the evening, and I don't know why, I get an unstable connection.
Hmm.
And every now and then I go away, and I don't know why, but I do. So I apologize if I disappear off here for a minute or two. So we'll change that. All I did was copy what it says in the bylaws for a definition of a member and the member in good standing. Anybody have any issues with that?
And we're on page 4.
I think so. I'm not sure she can hear us.
Linda? Uh-oh.
There's that instability.
I'd say Kat got her tongue.
Well, Linda's coming back. I have a question on in the little book that we have. On page 3, there's this thing about attorney's opinion. I have a note there that says, why are they so old? They're all from 2009 or 16. Are we getting rid of that or what?
Because those specifically apply to the NNE. And I think that they belong with our information. That somebody doesn't come back and say, well, why do we have those in there? And it's because they apply specifically to questions asked by NNE.
Okay.
In 2016, we had an issue.
Oh, no, Linda. Am I the only one who?
Nope. It's Linda's having a hard time here.
Yeah, it's her internet connection.
I have a very weak connection where I am, but I think there's so few of us, it's okay. And if I needed to, I'll just go to a bedroom in the back of the house, which is right over the broadcast, as opposed to a bedroom in the front of the house, which has a nice view of Steve's house. I wonder if Linda can just plug in an Ethernet cable. Because that also works too, if you have a connection issue.
It can, unless it's a Comcast issue.
Oh. Yeah,
This usually happens to me during Zoom meetings in the evening, and I'm okay, but it might be Comcast.
okay.
I think though if it was Comcast, since we're all here, we would all be affected by it.
Maybe.
It just depends. Comcast is really weird. It's different and different. Even down the block, it can be different.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true Comcast owns the cable that's out here?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I had asked, and somebody said Sudden Valley paid to have all the cable installed underground. Because we don't have any above ground cables, really. At least I don't see any telephone poles around my house. But somebody had said, yeah, they've sold that to Comcast. And I'd like to know, because there's a couple other internet companies that are cheaper than Comcast.
Okay.
And it'd be nice to have a little free enterprise out here.
You can find CenturyLink in a few places in Sudden Valley. I don't think they sold it to Comcast.
Oh, okay. Because I can only get Comcast or Verizon or whatever it is I have here. And it's like $90 a month. And I could get Frontier or Wave much cheaper.
I don't think Frontier or Wave are available out in Sudden Valley, but
They're not, because they can't come out here. Whoever owns the cables won't let them come out here, is what I was told.
Hmm.
Do we know what the parliamentary procedure is when the president of the committee is not available?
Nope.
I think you go to the next officer, the VP, which we don't have. But we could go to secretary if you want to talk about Linda while she's gone. I think she's coming back. Linda?
Yeah, it looks like she's trying to rejoin.
A little news blurb you might want to know is I'm helping some people get a restaurant going downtown. And the health department told them they better hurry up on their permits because they're not real busy right now. But the guy said, just between us, the health department is looking at shutting everything back down again soon, like 30 days for 40 days. If things keep going the way they're going, they're going to pull the plug again.
This is because of Comcast?
No,
Or
because
not
of COVID.
Comcast, COVID.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, well,
Even
that is
though-
just,
Even though the hospitals aren't overwhelmed or anything, it's just that's
Yeah,
their stance is they want to prevent
uh,
whatever.
To
But
use
that's
a-
very disheartening news.
to use
Yeah.
a term from early in the pandemic, our curve flattened, and not in a good way.
Yeah. Well, I got a shot at Rite Aid and the director there or the manager there said they're going to be giving 200 shots a day through September. It's Pfizer. Their deal is with Pfizer. They don't show up really on the state or the county website because they're one of those direct to the pharmacy clinics or arrangements between Pfizer and Rite Aid. And I was really satisfied with the woman who gave me a shot. I mean, she was good. She was a professional. She wasn't a student like Bellingham is.
do you just call to get on a list or make an appointment?
I've got a number. Next time Linda goes out, I'll run downstairs and grab it for you.
Thank you, Nancy. It's probably driving Linda crazy. She keeps popping on and popping off.
On second thought, I see her name, but let me go grab it. I'll be right back.
Oh, well, that is not good news.
Linda, if you can hear me, if sometimes pulling the power plug from the back of your cable modem for about 30 seconds and then plugging it back in can help if you're familiar with where that's at in your home. Give that a try.
Okay. They have a direct register online. This is what their blurb is, and I'll read it to you. Register online at https://ritea.id/Washington. Or no computer or having trouble registering, call 800-525-0127. And then when you're prompted, it says select and it's got number when prompted, then select 4 when prompted. But I don't know what all that means.
Okay.
Hopefully, if you dial the number, it'll be obvious.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Nancy. That's good to know. I know some people that are looking for it. My doctor's office emailed me already because I'm in a high risk classification, so I can get it. But I know other people that aren't that would like to be vaccinated.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, and I just never know what to tell people or where to go. Well, what do we do? Because we lost Linda.
I have a suggestion. The preface page, which is page 4, which we just talked about with the 2020 versus 2021 bylaws.
Okay.
I was thinking preface might be a good place to put the piece Linda wrote on, what was it? Third-party voting? Yeah, independent third-party election vendor. It's the last page. And it's something she wrote, and in the bottom it says sections in the manual updated will be done so in bold lettering with regard to, I'm not sure what, but I think that should be in the front rather at the end, so people know there's something to look for. And the only place I can think of to put it is in the preface, either before the page 4 or after it. Any ideas?
What if you put it in with the paragraph that says these procedures cover it as AGM, SGM, and you could put third-party vending in there, couldn't you?
That's, what do other people think? I mean, I just think it should be somewhere in the beginning, so people know what we're doing, rather than read the whole thing and go, oh, yeah, at the end.
I mean, I'd agree with what Michael said if we put it up there, because I mean, that is the summary of what this whole document is about. So it makes sense that we address it there.
So it would go under these procedures on page 4, it'd be the third dot.
Third bullet point directly above the definitions.
Okay. Okay. Which is going to mess up the numbering something fierce, but them's the breaks. So it's third party, third dot. Okay.
Did we ever get like an actual link to the Google Drive file for this?
I never did.
I did today.
Because what I saw is in the attachment in the packet, I can see that, and it's got draft written on it, but it's got weird formatting, and I couldn't figure out how to get around it.
Wonder if it's something.
Mine
Sorry,
had
go.
one that said that click, you just clicked on it and it said you had to request permission to get it. So I clicked that button, and within 10 minutes, Rachel sent me permission and I was in it and it worked fine.
I don't like Google Docs either. I'm just saying, I like Word, but I'm learning that everyone under the age of 30 loves Google Docs, maybe 25.
I think
I'm not under that age, but that's what I use at work all the time. So
I know, I think so we use both. We use Word and we use Google Docs. And I don't know, been using Word for 20 years. I get confused with it too, but it seems that the one thing I like is that you don't have to save it. It just kind of stays and you can just keep working through it with everyone. But I can try to figure it out. I'm not very smart with it, so I can ask someone younger to help me figure it out.
Okay, the next page, does anybody have any objections if we just move through? Okay. Page 5, we changed the names from Leslie and Company to AJ and Company. And I think that's pretty self-evident. So we'll go on to page 6. And what I'm looking at is the one thing that I think was changed says in NNA 1.2, and then the third bullet point down, it says solicits and coordinates with staff to review bids for printing and mailing of an election materials. See section 4.3.1 is the correction. And that's a lot better than what was there before, which was word salad. Any comments, or
Fine.
are you, Lori, are you looking at this thing? I mean, can you see it?
Yeah, I have a really wide monitor, so I have it up and I have the Zoom call over there. So if I'm looking over here, I'm looking at the people on Zoom. If I'm looking like this, I'm reading the document.
Great. I have a gaming laptop, which isn't mine, it's borrowed. It's a nice machine, but it's its own thing. Great
Yeah.
graphics, by the way.
Well, I'm working from home, and when I'm at my actual physical office, I have 2 monitors side by side. So in order to reproduce that at home, I had to buy a really wide monitor. So
Cool. Anything else? On page 6, she had crossed out some things about the master registration spreadsheet never leaves the possession of staff. Well, you can't have that if you have a third party. And I don't know that that's that necessary anyway. So
Well, I thought that this, one of the things I was running into when I was going through and reading this and trying to edit and have it make more sense is we keep throwing the phrase, unless a third party vendor does this, or except for third party, all over the place. And I think by us adding an actual section for the third party vendor, we can actually move a lot of that stuff elsewhere. Like, we have this, these are the standard procedures for, when we're doing it ourselves. This is what the standard procedure is for third party vendor in a completely separate section.
yeah, and I think that would be a good thing to do if we can get the amendment passed. And then do it. What I started putting that unless there's a third party vendor all over the place, because I thought it was the safe thing to do, not knowing what would pass as far as a bylaw. So, Linda's back with us. Linda? Oh, no.
In that section 1.2 N and E, also on the second bullet point, there was added, and then they're open, elected, and appointed positions.
Yeah,
So that's fine too.
yeah. We've been doing that anyway, because
Yeah,
we
But it's not in
advertise the
print. It's just,
finance committee and things like that. And those are appointed. They're not elected. Okay. If nobody wants to change anything that was on Linda's draft on 6, we'll go on to 7.
well, are we going to leave the phrase unless third party vendor does this for now?
For now. I
Okay,
mean, you're talking about a massive rewrite to section this into third-party stuff and do-it-ourselves stuff. And I don't know that this is the time to do it until we have an amendment that sorts out.
yes. Okay,
Unless you really want to do it, Michael.
I'm for doing it as easy as possible once.
I don't see, okay. You want to go on to 7? I hate to do this, but, oh, I see chat. Somebody's chatting. Let me see. Oh, from Steve to all panelists.
I was just
Okay.
repeating what John said about restarting the modem, trying to, in case Linda was able to connect. Since John mentioned it, that would be there. She could pop back and read it later if she needed to, if she's able to get in.
Okay. Sorry. Close. Okay. Let's,
Well, you're shadowing Linda sort of anyway, so move along.
okay, I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
I think she'll be fine.
I know you're all delicate. Not, but. Any changes on 7? Anybody doesn't like something that was already there? Okay,
Is the ballot, is this thing about in good standing going to be put into a vote this year? Or that wouldn't change this year anyway, it wouldn't go into effect till next year, right?
right. We can't do anything about it until that bylaw changes. And I think I sent something out to everybody with a
Yeah.
letter on why I think it should be changed. And real simple cross out changes for the bylaws. But the way it goes is we have to be asked by the board to edit those bylaws. And we haven't been asked by the board yet. And I think Linda intends to ask during the online voting discussion.
Can't just regular members request a bylaw change?
No?
I mean, request the board or bring it up to the board, they'd like to see a bylaw change?
During member comments, I'm sure you can.
Okay,
Not to interrupt, but Linda messaged me. She has done everything, restarted her modem, so she can't get going, period. Just
What-
FYI.
Message her back. Does she wish to postpone or does she wish us to go muddle on?
There also, in the Zoom meeting, there is directions on how to phone call in. So she
Oh.
can take it for a voice chat.
All right. I'm gonna turn off my monitor so I can call her and get this figured out. My screen.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Okay.
To
back
your
to
question
that
on page
bylaw
7,
change topic, because when we did the dues cap thing, that was a bylaw change, wasn't it?
It was, we petitioned to get that on the ballot.
Okay. Yes,
And
yeah, I
I
remember
don't think
that.
we need to go to that length. I think the
Okay.
board will be willing to request that we work on it.
Okay,
And it's cold and it's COVID. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot tougher to get signatures.
yes, yes.
I actually think it would pass too. So enough electioneering for something I can't do right now. Okay.
Do you guys have quorum?
A quorum?
Yeah. Yeah, do you have quorum? She said you can continue if you want to, if you have quorum.
Well, what are there, 4 of us or 5 of us on the committee? And we have 3 pictured and 1 Michael.
I'm here.
He's here. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just looking at, I have to go to Word and not look at your lovely faces. And, but
Okay.
I also was eating a salad and didn't figure you wanted to watch me eat.
Then she said you are welcome to
Okay.
continue. I gave her the number to call in if she wants to phone call in.
Okay, let's move on to, are we okay with page 7?
So on page 7, above 4.1, the second bullet point up has a bunch of question marks after it.
Yeah,
I don't know why or what. I'm assuming that we don't want to add a bunch of question marks to the manual. I don't understand the significance of that.
I don't understand either. I didn't put them there.
I would assume it's for possibly describing which records. I mean, do we need to do that, or that just makes sense? Maintain all records.
Let's just say maintain records. If we take the all out, it's not so inclusive.
Okay,
But I mean, we're proposing to make a change for a thing that we don't even know why it's listed there that way. Like, I mean, I'm assuming Linda put that there, and I would ask her why she has it there.
Okay,
But I mean, I don't feel comfortable just saying, hey, yes, let's make this change when we don't know the reasoning behind it.
well,
I agree. I don't think that, like, if there's question marks back there, it's like maybe that it needs to be explained more, like what type of records, why are we maintaining them, how long we're maintaining them, how we're maintaining them. So,
okay. I'll put a note, page 7, 1.3, records question mark. Needs discussion.
And it's very likely that it might just simply be, hey, can we remove this bullet point? Like,
Yeah.
like I just don't feel in good conscience of being able to, say yay or nay.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, as my husband says, no guts, no glory, but then he has a different theory of doing things sometimes.
Well, I mean, like,
Okay, master counter, everybody's okay with that. KJ? Delete if bylaws eliminate floor voting. Yeah, oh, that has to stay in there. Or that has to come out. Because I can't say ballots presented at the meeting floor will not be accepted. It's actually ballots presented at the meeting floor if there's a third party vendor will not be accepted is what it should be.
that's on 1.5.
It's 1.5,
Yes.
the fourth down, because we didn't have floor voting last year. What happens with floor voting is it's just people bring in their mail-in ballots and think they can just hand it in on the floor. And there has just been no way to break people of that habit. They do it every year. Somebody tries it every year and those ballots just get disregarded.
Yep.
So, okay, ballots presented. Actually, we could just take it out because this is about volunteers.
I'm assuming that with it being about volunteers, it's talking about needing a volunteer to collect said ballots at an in-person voting situation, which, if we're doing third-party voting, that doesn't matter. And that should, again, go underneath that other section.
Okay, so it'll be ballots.
But again, I'm making a lot of assumptions there.
Yeah, okay, how do you want to word it?
I have no idea. Like,
In my version here, it looks pretty straightforward. Ballots presented at the meeting floor will not be accepted. You could add on there because they won't count in any situation.
but if it's actually in-person voting, my understanding is you can take the mail-in ballot and then you have to then get a special like on-floor ballot, which that can be collected and counted in person. So we can't just say, no, you are not doing this, period.
until we take it out of the bylaws.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe mailed ballots presented at meeting floor will not be accepted. Must use meeting provided ballot.
How about will not be accepted if there is a third-party vendor? And just do it that way.
Yeah. Leave the sentence the way it is, just add not accepted if vote handled by third party.
Yeah.
And then if we're doing it on our own, we'll have to deal with it there differently.
Yeah.
Or add another bullet that says mail-in ballots will require an on-floor in-person ballot to be counted.
Okay, but it sounds like we're doing a lot of legislation with this duty of what a volunteer does. This section is describing what volunteers do.
Okay. Okay.
So the
Collect-
volunteer would,
Collect
Meeting
floor ballots unless it's a third-party vendor.
I'm sorry, Nancy, can you repeat that?
Collect floor ballots unless the meeting is run by a third-party vendor. Unless third-party vendor. Okay.
And it already says that at the top in red, ballots presented at the meeting. It says if conducted by a third party, ballots presented at the meeting floor will not be accepted. But it says that in the top paragraph in red.
Yeah, we can just say it again and just say collect ballots, collect floor ballots unless it's a third-party vendor. Because you're right, it is what volunteers will do, and that's something a volunteer would do. Okay, this was page 8. 8. Page 9. Oh, there's all that stuff at the bottom. Okay. I'm happy with what's on there. The minutes should be prepared by the secretary and submitted to the chair and to the secretary of the board. Yeah, why would I prefer minutes and not send them to the chair? And then I don't know why 4.1.6, the number is actually crossed out, but
Before we get to 4.1.6 and 4.0, we're missing a space between N and election.
oh. Yes.
There's a few of those throughout here.
You can just click on it and hit a space and it'll come in there. It's
Yeah.
editable.
Actually, I'm not using a live copy. I've just got something I'm viewing on a
Oh, okay.
screen. So I'll just have to make a note of that. I can't. Okay, 4.1.6. This is what caused such confusion last year. Members who are interested in running for an open position must use the current year application package. The package is available from the administrative office from the pamphlet distribution center next to the administrative office, or can be downloaded from the Sudden Valley website. Is everybody good with that?
As long as the one on the website is current.
Yes, Linda brought it to the office a little while ago, and we did get it fixed.
Okay.
And then some other stuff gets crossed out on 10.
Yeah,
And then members should state on each application only a single position for which they are running. A separate application is required for each position. A member may not hold more than one elected position at a time. And the rest is crossed out.
you're on page 10?
Beg pardon?
You're on page 10?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right.
Okay. And then 4.1.11, there's some changes. It's information for the candidates for I had put in September because I thought that's why we were moving the date so far towards the beginning of September, but that's not the case. It goes in the October issue of the Views. So that stays October.
In 4.1.8, do we know why we're crossing out through the date of the election?
Because it's redundant. It says member in good standing as of the date of the application and remains so.
Forever?
Actually, you have to remain in good standing all the time you're on the board too, if you should win. So it's not just through the
I just
date
wanted to
of-
clarify that it is forever.
Well, it's for as long as you're on the board or running for the board.
Okay.
I don't know that that's forever.
I'm just, I'm looking at the language. It's, shall remain so. That there's no end date to that.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, if that's the way it's supposed to be, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I don't have anything crossed out on 4.1.8.
Oh,
It basically just says what it says, and
What's
just
the last
remain.
word of that of 4.1.8 for you?
yeah.
there's a period after remain so period, and then what's crossed out says through the date of the election.
Right, but what's the last part of your sentence there, Michael?
Mine doesn't have anything crossed out or any periods. It just says each candidate must be listed on the property deed, must be a member in good standing as of the date of the application, and remain so through the date of the election. Period.
Well, do you want to leave that in there and don't cross it out? It doesn't change anything.
No,
Because
I
if
think it's fine.
Because if the guy's elected to the board, then the bylaws take over.
So we're just trying to cover that gap, any gap between when they apply and when they're actually elected.
Okay, we'll just not cross out 4. Okay, I'm on 10.
Hey, Linda, we're on page 10.
I'm back in the land of the living, I think, but I don't know how long.
Yay, you made it.
Yeah, but I don't know how long.
Well, can we ask you about page 7, 1.3? There's a bunch of question marks after the word records. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, go ahead and hit me with page 7. Your questions.
Maintains all records. Question marks. Why are there question marks?
Maintains all records. Ooh, good question. And I put those in there, I think. I think it's, how do I say this? I want to be sure that, it's like, yeah, and I don't know, I can't remember now why I put the question marks there. But yes, basically I turn everything over to staff so that they have they even have more information than the board gets. There's a list at the very end that says what they get a copy of. And some of that stuff isn't necessarily what gets left with the board. So that's probably why it says that. Anything else, or that's fairly,
That was really our question on that page, because we were trying to figure out what we're trying to change. it
okay,
to.
that's the only thing. I can't remember now why I did it. But it might be that I want to go visit what we all give admin to keep as a record of the meetings, because normally I send more stuff than, I send a packet of stuff that includes stuff that the board doesn't get, like a copy of the master registration list and different things like that that are important for us to have on file, but they aren't something that has to be declared to the board. So that's what that is. So what page are you guys on so I can catch up?
Page 10.
Page what?
10.
10?
Yes.
Okay.
We were just looking at 4.1.8.
That's on page 9.
4.1.8. 4.1.8, where it says each candidate must be listed on the property deed and must be a member in good standing as the date of application and remain so. You have the whole time when you're on the board, you have to remain in good standing. Your dues have to always be current, or if you get in arrears, you can be removed from the board for not being in good standing.
So that's why you're getting rid of the through date of election. It should be remain so through your entire term.
Remain so, period. If you're elected, you have to remain so. That's that one thing, Michael, you asked about the attorney's opinion.
Yeah.
The one from 2016, that applies to this particular 1.4.8 about the fact that you have to be on a deed. I had 2 candidates that year that had to go and down to the county and have a quit claim filed to add them to their deeds on the property.
But is
Okay.
1.4.8, is that applying to just board members, or is that applying to any candidates? Like, would that apply to us?
That's any candidate. That's any candidate. That's if you're on this committee and elected, and if it's only happened to me once back when I was treasurer. One of my committee members that was elected, her dues became, and she brought them current, but I got a nasty little thing from the accounting manager saying XYZ is no longer current in their dues.
Okay.
We took care of it, but no fun.
I was just looking for clarification, because every time you mentioned it, you were talking about on the board. So I wanted to make sure it was appropriate.
Yep.
So do you want to leave it in or not? Or take it out? Are we taking it out?
I want to take it out and have it end with a period and remain so, period. And
Okay.
take out that through the date of the election.
Okay. And then we went down to 4.1.11, and it's October, not September. And
That's
it's
correct.
information for, and beyond just names of, information for is broader than just names
Yes,
for.
yes.
That's good. And then
That's the October, it's when they post everything about you. If you're, the board members have their biographies and their vision statements published. Because they're the
Okay.
only ones that have to have the vision statement.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is the October views that goes in. Although we do, after we do the drawing in September, Rachel will be there with us and she will then post notice. She'll post an announcement on the Sudden Valley webpage of who's running and their positions. Then it will also be the order they're in on the ballot.
So just to clarify, and I seem to remember from a previous meeting, we were talking about when the candidates submit their information, we pass that along to the views editor, and we are not permitted to edit or modify that information in any manner whatsoever. Right?
That's correct.
So
That's correct.
should we reflect that in this language here? The entity chair will give the views editor the information as submitted by the candidates?
I
It's-
thought there was somewhere in here where
It's
it
in the
talks about
packet.
that. I know in the packet, it says that we will not, that we won't be, that we're not allowed to edit their information. When I started doing this in 2015, they weren't sending it to us in editable, just in a Word document that we could just transfer. And staff was expected to retype what the candidate had written for the booklet. And we went, no, we're not doing that anymore.
I guess maybe my question here is.
It's such a waste of time.
I don't disagree with that, but the document we're working on right now, the purpose of this document is to tell us how to do our job, right?
Yes.
So if it's
Well, you know what?
how to do our job, it shouldn't worry if it's in the packet or not. This is giving us direction.
Yes, but it says up in 4.1.10, it says before submission to the publisher, candidates may review their information for typographical errors. And that, it says it there, that's their job, not our job. And in 4.1.10, the very final sentence says that they may review that. And there's a letter that goes back to them right away after we do the drawing for the names. And that's when they're given this instruction.
Okay.
Are we ready to go
And
to,
Nancy, you want to leave it?
beg
Go
pardon?
ahead.
I was going to say, are we moving to 4.1.12?
I think we are, as long as you know that indeed it is the October views that needs to
Yes,
stay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm. Okay, the debate on that is, it had said 5 business days. And I put in
Yeah.
2 because if we draw on a Tuesday, that will leave
Yep.
Wednesday and Thursday. And by Thursday night, we will know who the candidate slate is and we can send it to the views.
Well, yeah, but you're gonna know, Nancy, you're gonna know the night that we open the applications and we draw the names. That basically, then Rachel hopefully is gonna run back to her office afterwards, because it never usually takes very long. And she will then post notification in the announcements because that's a regular meeting of ours that's posted. And that these are the order of the candidates for the different elected offices. And then it goes up right then and there. But I agree with you. The only thing I think I would do is go ahead.
I think 2 days is enough to look at who your competition is and figure out if you want to drop out.
That's true. Do we want to put by 4 PM? I worry, I notice it came up in a couple of places here, and I'm glad Rachel is here with us. The office has been closing at 4:30 for forever. And we used to say end of day, and then people said, no, they wanted a specific time. And right now, the office is closing at 4. But in theory, if we go back to regular schedule, that's until we're supposed to be open till 4:30. Rachel, do you know when you guys are going to go back to staff, full staff and regular hours?
I was hoping that we would progressively move that way. I was kind of hoping by the end of April, but as long as we don't go backwards with anything, then that's my goal. And actually, I'm kind of looking at the hours moving forward, maybe even extending them a little bit later in the afternoon to better suit the community. So fingers crossed, COVID will allow us to open longer.
Let's just say closing. People can figure it out because it's too fluid to put in a document. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I agree. That's the way everything has gone over the last year. I know.
So it would be 2 business days ending at closing on the second day? Linda, I think you're frozen.
I'm trying, I just disappeared. I'm just back again. You wouldn't believe what my computer's doing to me here. After 2 business days by closing on the second day. Can we agree on that? Or has somebody got better language?
That's fine.
I think that's perfect as is, as it's closing on the second business day.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's it for that page. I apologize. It's just every now and then I look down, and when I come back up, you guys are gone and my little wheel is going around and around.
It's not funny.
It's just-
I just laugh at a lot.
No,
of
it's
things.
not. I think it's time for me to go to Best Buy and get a new modem is what I think the problem is. So on page, that's done for page 10, page 11. I think if we change this, the very top of 11, it says if the election is to be conducted by a third-party vendor in July, N&E committee will solicit bids from qualified vendors and choose one. I think we need to do it before July.
Yeah, probably.
How about
You
by?
know, that's part of this.
We'll just say by July. And then it can be earlier.
Okay. Ooh, that's a good. Because for us to get on their dance card, it just, the sooner we do it, the better off we are. And I know that Catherine will send us a full legal document to be able to send to Rachel to get Glenn's signature on. That's one of the things I hope to talk to the board about. So on page 12,
We've got a
There's a
thing we
question-
did in your absence, Linda, for the third-party
Okay.
vendor statement. We put it up in preface. And was it page 4
Yeah,
as a third bullet under, what was it?
the process
help.
or
I'm lost.
Directly above the definitions is where we're putting it.
Right, directly above definitions.
Directly, oh, that whole thing about a third-party vendor
Yes,
that I did, okay.
that way they see it right
Just a
away.
minute.
It'll mess
Insert,
up all the
okay.
spacing from there on, but
I know,
so that
but I didn't want to put it anywhere until we all talked about it.
the point in 4.3, if elected by a third party vendor by July, that's going to be over in that page 3 above description then.
yeah,
I really, what the purpose the reason that I put that whole section in there is because if you, and I think I sent you all the full contract where Unilec, the first year they did it, said, you know, we will meet all of your bylaws, all of your state laws, all of this, that, and the other thing that's within our voting document and our manuals. And I think that it's important that we state in there that no matter what N&E committee, what or when a committee, N&E committee selects a third-party vendor, they should be able to meet all those requirements.
yeah.
And if anybody has anything to add to that, I'm more than happy to say, you know, add other things in there.
I thought it was fine. I'm sure we'll think of things as soon as it's printed, but for right now it's fine.
Mm.
Okay, so where are we now?
We were page 11, and I think we're getting ready to move on to page 12.
Oh, I have a question. There are asterisks in red on some of those things. Were those to remain in, or? I think Linda must have put them in.
We lost Linda again briefly. She's not back yet.
Oh, okay. Well, let's move on then, because it's so trivial. It's easy to move up, out. It won't mess up spacing. So. Oh, Steve had things to say about 4.5.1. How are the observers selected?
Yeah, we talk about it and that they can apply, but we don't talk about how. I mean, is it simply just come to the meeting, I want to do it, and they're good? Or like, is there an actual application? Do we have to vet them to make sure that they're actually in good standing and make sure that they're able to do it then? Like,
I don't know.
unfortunately, I think it's a Linda question.
Yeah. I've never tried to be an observer. Has anybody? No. Okay. I was thinking if somebody had, they could tell us how they got there.
Well, I remember in the email
Essentially.
exchange with Linda, she mentioned something about a process, but I don't remember. I mean, that was what, 2 months ago? So I got nothing.
Okay. And we stuck in the word, no recording is allowed by observers because the third party guys do record what they're doing. So, and that was a neat movie anyway.
That was in 4.5.
I'm back again.
Oh, good. 4.5.1. How are the observers selected?
How do I say it? Somewhere in here, and I forget where it is when Steve asked that question. I think there's a place where it says, and I can't remember where it is, but I think it's in here, that they submit a request to the chair of NNE. And I usually after the candidates are done, I'll put an announcement in the views that says anyone interested in observing the election, please send an email to me. There is a form that I make them fill out and sign that includes all of these rules and that they agree to abide by them if they're an observer.
So an application can be obtained by contacting the NNE chair.
Yes. You
And
want to add
submitting-
that on there?
And submitting application within X days of the election? I mean, you're probably going to want to have some time to read and vet and whatnot, right?
Yeah, and it's just, they're usually really pretty good about it. Yeah, but you're right. We should say that because I've had people walk in there and go, I want to be observer. And I go, no, you can't do that. You have to apply. Let's see, an application.
Yeah, and I did a quick search through the document.
Send me language.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Can be requested from NNE chair. Yeah, I need to think of some language because they're basically what I'm asking them to do is sending them the rules rather than expecting them to read the NNE manual. And it just has a copy and it tells them where to come and what time in the application. I can send you a copy of that. And maybe that would clarify things, but you're right, we need to add language.
Well, it should say interested members are to apply through NNE chair within 3 days and fill out the packet. Agreeing to the rules in the packet, or however you want to say that.
Yeah, I should just say interested members should apply to NNE chair for an application.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because then in the application, we'll just say when to have it back. You know, it's just, because if I think about it now, it's like I'll say something wrong. I know I will. This has been kind of a stressful meeting.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we can
Interested
change
members are
that.
allowed to apply through NNE chair for applications. Request an application.
And I'll send you guys a copy of one of those. Because then a lot of times when we do it in-house, then the master counter has asked me for a copy of that so that they understand. There used to even be a whole big list that they made for me from administration that listed all the lists because they're usually put in a cordoned off area if we do it in-house and we have a whole room full of counters. They have a small area they have to sit in and that's where they have to stay. I think the only other little correction on that page is there's what bullet 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth bullet down, no recording in this area is allowed by observers as This may allow individual votes on ballots to be viewed. I think that's the only other change we made there.
Yep.
Okay, page 13, 4.6, parliamentarian. Staff will contact a parliamentarian to schedule their attendance. Is that the right form of their? Somebody help me.
That's the right form of there.
Okay.
The other there is they are, the contraction of they are.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's not doing that
Because,
for us.
well, and it's just, I know that, I'm not certain how long Ann's gonna be doing this anymore. She talks about retirement. She's had a couple of she had serious hip surgery this year. And, parliamentarians, I think there's only one other time in all the meetings we've ever had that I have ever seen another parliamentarian take over for her.
The copy I'm looking at just says parliamentarian to schedule his/her attendance.
Cross that out and put their attendance at any election. Because I'm not certain, like I say, well, we can leave his, her, if you think that's better, guys.
I think it's pretty
It's up to you.
clear. It's the only options we have.
His or her.
Because
I think.
it better show up now. Well, and with Ann saying much that she has, I would almost hope that this year we may contact her early to make certain that she'll be available again this year. I don't know, Rachel, have you gotten confirmation from her at all that she'll be available for this year's AGM?
I have not. I'll reach out to her tomorrow. I'll do it right now, actually, while we're in our meeting.
Actually, it's probably better
Okay,
to say
it's
there because of all the gender issues there are across the board. There is just
Yeah, okay.
pretty clean
There, yeah, there it is. Yeah,
there.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's the best use of the pronoun. And that way there's no confusions or conflictions or hurt feelings or animosity.
Lori, you're a little low on your volume.
Lori's muted.
No, I could hear her, but barely.
But when I come back on, is that better, Steve? I turned up the mic.
Just a
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
better. Say it again.
Mic, is that better?
Perfect. I can hear you great.
Yes.
Okay. But what I had said was that was the best use of the pronoun, and then that way there's no animosity, there's no confusion. It's a good pronoun to use.
Yeah.
I went through and I tried to update.
Okay, down to return ballot deadline. Let's see, all mailed in or personally delivered ballots must be received by the vendor or at the administration office before the close of business, the Friday before an AGM or SGM to allow time to process the ballots.
That
You
gets
know, and that's,
around the
you know-
closing time issue. I like it. But
Well, but see that, and with things like they are now, it's hard to put 4:30 in there because we just don't know. But when the election comes up and we send out the booklets, we can put announcements up there, whether it's going to be 4:30, 5 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? That I think that to put this in the manual is a safe bet.
yeah, the thing is, we don't know when the vendor closes. So we don't want to put something that somebody could say, well, the vendor can't accept it beyond 4:30, even though they're open till 5. Because we said 4:30.
Actually, when you'll know, and if you go back and look at our other one, their cutoff date is 10 a.m. on that Friday in the morning.
Yeah.
But
remember
they
that.
go in at the end of day on Friday, they'll take their, they'll go in there and make sure that they get all of those ballots. The reason we give them end of day for the drop box is because that can stay open because the office is open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that, but anyway, if you look, I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back and look because my brain is just not working well, but I think it's 10 or 11 o'clock is when their last mail drop comes on Friday from their post office.
Okay.
You know what I mean? To get put in their special post office box that they have.
Well, I think it's fine the way it is. Close of business. the
Okay.
Friday
Yep,
before
yeah,
the
I think so
NAGM.
too.
And then,
Okay, then 5.1.2, any ballots returned to the office after Friday? If we don't say at 4:30, what are we gonna say end of day?
Close of business.
We should include that.
Friday,
Absolutely.
let's say any ballots returned to the office on Friday after close of business will not be registered or counted. And it says a member still may register and vote in person the morning of the AGM or SGM.
Yeah.
Should we specify-
Basically when 4:30 rolls around, and you guys don't know this, I think Rachel got to see it last time, but Oryx came with me and we time it. We sit there and time it. And we have a couple of N&E people there and then staff. And we basically empty out the last of the ballots that are in there at 4:30. And then the ballot box goes away. It's just not out there anymore. It's gone. It's put in a closet and stored till next year. Okay,
Talking about that last part of that
then,
section, a member may still register and vote in person the morning of the AGM or SGM. Should we also include like they need the floor ballot? Or is that getting too drilled down?
there's another place in here where it says that they get a special ballot. I don't know if. No, we're just gonna tell them that because how do I say this? It's a special ballot, but if it's done, now Unilec, we used to put a stamp on just a regular, because we used to, when we did it all by ourselves, we got all of our extra ballots. And that's what we used for the AGM. And there are stamps that we have that you update, that they have to be stamped in order to count. But Unilec simply used some really gross pink paper for their in-person ballots that day. And if a third party does it, they register with them to get their ballot. They register with us too. They basically sign in with N&E, but they actually physically register with the third party vendor. And then she will hand them a ballot
okay.
and tell them this is what you will use to vote on. And she
And-
gives them all their instructions. So I think we're good with that.
Yeah.
Okay, page 14. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I did, let's see, I highlighted, but ooh, function of third party. It must have not carried over. How do I say it? Registration, function, wait a minute. I think something didn't carry over. I think I had some stars on here for some of these items. But let's just go ahead and go to 5.2.2 is the first section that has a change.
It looks like the stars you're
It
talking
says
about.
this list is then used. Go ahead.
You said that there were some stars you added. It looks like they're on the next page.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all right. Phew. I thought they were missing. Thank you. Like I say, it has not been a good night. So on 5.2.2, we added, let's see, in the last, looks like the last section, this list is then used by NNE and or a third-party vendor to complete the results report and record that is submitted as certification of the election. And to answer your question, Steve, yes, there's two reports that get turned into the board. One is a spreadsheet and one is a written report of the results of the election. And usually one, if not both of those, then get posted in the views. Usually he just does the report, but there's actually a spreadsheet and a report that those are the two things that get sent to the board
Okay, so
that are required.
There's one other instance in this document that talks about the results record, but it doesn't actually define what's in the results record. So it doesn't say what's supposed to be there or not supposed to be. Like we don't have anything. Like the other time it's
Just a
mentioned is all the way
minute, I
down to
think
page
further
19.
somewhere in here, wait a minute. In section 9, that's part of this, it talks about election certification and maybe because you use this, what you do is you use the list to finish these reports. And the actual description of them is in 9.1 of our manual, where you gather all copies of the final registration reports, master tally sheets and forms used to calculate the election results. That changes when you use a third-party vendor. And I think I need to send you guys what we get from Unilect, because I don't know if any of you have seen that.
Okay.
Because it's just nice and neat and tidy. And if there's ever a question of the election or the results, they come and do the certification. We're there and present, but they will certify their results.
Okay, so based on
That's
what you're saying,
part of the,
the results of 9.1 is what is used to generate the results report, which is then turned in.
yes,
Okay, we should include that in 9.1 then. Because it's inferred, there it isn't spelled out there.
oh, you mean we should maybe put at the end of this, see section 9.1?
Potentially see section 9.1, or even just simply restating, I lost my spot, but even restating in 9.1 that to certify election results, used to calculate election results, and at the certification meeting, with the results report that is generated from this data, or something like that there. Because if you do a search through the document for the phrase results report, there's only two instances. The part that we're looking at, and at the very bottom under archiving voting materials.
Gotcha. Wait a minute. Results, woohoo, report and record. I'm just adding that at 9.1 down here
That's fine. I just,
to be able to change language.
because yeah, I searched through the document before I asked the question because I couldn't find information about it.
Mm-hmm. And actually and that's what changes a little bit. I think the best thing I can do is send you guys a copy of what I submitted to the board this year. Because I think it's buried in a board packet somewhere, but you guys shouldn't have to go hunt and peck for that. And you can see what it looks like when we actually get a results report from a third-party vendor. Because it's different than when we do it internally. But I will send that, and you're right, we should put it in both places. So why do we have, this makes no sense. How did 5.1.1 get below 5.2.2?
Ah,
That makes no sense. I don't know if the numbering got off because it got changed. See how it's a weird number in there? We need to look at that. Because it fits in there, but it's not in the correct numbering sequence.
Where are you at?
So I'm on page 14 and we come down and we go 5.2, then we go 5.21, 5.22, then it goes 5.11, and it should be, I think it's just because the very first part of that possibly got changed that it did a funny thing with the numbering.
The version I have that you sent
See
me
that there?
is perfect.
Oh, weird.
With that, Michael, what is your?
Because I printed this
5.
out from my PDF.
The version I have that I opened to refer to tonight is from Linda sent this revised thing for the meeting in a Word document, and mine's perfect. It's
Right.
5.21, 22, 23, 24, 25, right down the list.
Okay, what is 5.2?
Oh, I'm looking at my PDF and I'm off. I'll
Yeah.
check. I need to check it. That's all.
All right.
Well, if Michael's is numbered correctly, if he reads us 5.2.3, we'll know where it's supposed to be.
5.2.3 says, as ballots are received at the corporate address for Clubhouse Circle, staff
Uh-huh.
will visit all return envelopes into the ballot box. And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Looks like
We
it's
just need to
numbered.
change that and make sure. I'll double check it when I can. I don't want to mess around with my computer right now. I'm having enough issues as it already is.
I've been correcting.
And then I think at the end of that, Michael, at the end of that paragraph, does it say if we have contracted a third-party vendor for the election, ballots will be mailed to the election vendor post office box?
5.2.3?
Yep.
No. It says, as
Yeah,
ballots
that's what
are
I'm
received
worried.
at the address for Clubhouse Circle, Bellingham, Washington, staff will deposit all returned envelopes into the ballot box, including those ballots that were marked as undeliverable. Ballots shall never be handled alone by any one person. And I put a period there and then a capital, neither the NE or administration staff, because it should be two sentences grammatically anyway.
Okay.
But it doesn't say anything about.
See, and
as
it should
third-party
say,
vendor.
and it should say that there, that if we have contracted a third-party vendor for the election, ballots will be mailed to the election vendor post office box.
If third-party vendor contracted,
The PDF I have has it, but it also has that paragraph as
Okay.
5.1.1.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna have to go back and look.
yeah. the
Then
copy
what should be 5.2.4 only has one change, and is the beginning sentence that says, unless the election is conducted by a third-party vendor. And it should be VENDOR, not ER.
Right.
So on 5.2.3, you have, you added the line, if third-party contracted ballots will be sent to where?
The election vendor post office box.
All right. And then the next one
Okay.
it should have a, unless it's a third-party vendor. 5.2.
Just that beginning sentence, unless the election is conducted by a third-party vendor.
Because I don't have that on here either.
Then, oh, weird. You should look at that PDF that I sent. That's gonna be the best one that's gonna be in there.
All right.
Is that one that I sent with the agenda packet. I know it's harder to make changes and stuff. So then the next paragraph down that should be 5.2.5, the entity will provide a calendar to the ASM of the day and time each ballot count will be done in order to reserve space and schedule staff time. Rachel, we're going to have to figure out, and you may want to work on this ahead of time, since John's office is now the conference room downstairs. We're going to have a place where where the entity can work quietly like they did to do the registering
Okay,
of the ballots.
I'll figure that out. We might need to,
Just,
it
gives you plenty of time to think about it. Then 5.2.6, the committee will collect and register the ballots. Goes on to say, let's see. The committee will collect and register the ballots from the ballot box at least twice during each week until the AGM or SGM. They will take the ballots to the reserved space to date, stamp, check signatures, register, vet, and place alphabetically in the locked cases. Then there's a sentence that's added, if the election is conducted by a third-party vendor, updated lists provided by the election vendor of mailed ballots received will also be periodically vetted and added to the master registration list. That section should be in there. They usually send us something about every 2 weeks. It all depends upon how many they get mailed back to them. Because then they have a real nice list that they send us. It says a staff member will be designated to assist with the vetting and registering each time the committee counts. The registered ballots will then be secured in the locking cases until they are counted. The cases are placed in a closet in a secure location for safekeeping until counting begins. The entity chair will retain the keys to the boxes and the closet. All handling of the ballots will be conducted by 2 or more entity committee members or an entity committee member and an entity volunteer. It's just we're never all by ourselves. I want to change something, guys. Can you all go back up to 5.2.5 where it says entity will provide a calendar to the ASM of the day and time each ballot. Don't put count, it should be registration will be done,
Oh,
because it makes it sound like we're counting ballots there and we're not.
Oh, 5.2.4.
Yeah, 5.2.5, where in between those two long paragraphs, it says entity will provide a calendar to the ASM of the day and time each ballot registration will be done in
Oh.
order to reserve space and schedule staff time.
Yeah, you can't edit.
It shouldn't say count. We never, yeah, we never count. And I don't want to confuse folks.
And I can't edit this PDF anyway, so all right.
I know, I'm sitting here doing we're gonna have to do exchanges back and forth here. And see how good we get, what we get it down to.
are we doing this on the
Okay,
PDF or are we
page-
doing it something else? If we're gonna exchange stuff, what are we gonna exchange? The PDF or we're gonna work that out?
Well,
later?
see, that's why we were hoping for Google Docs. But if you can't read it, we can't do that. Because that locks you out of the process and we can't do that.
Well, I can't even get a copy. I have not gotten anything through email and I don't know why. I don't know if maybe if I got one, I could look at it.
I think Rachel sent us I know I've got the email from Rachel. I just wanted to wait and see, especially if you would have trouble with Google Docs.
I didn't see anything in Rachel's email that had an attachment except for the Sudden Valley logo. That was the only attachment on the email. There was no doc. or
Nancy?
manual.
Nancy, are you able to check your email right now? I just
I probably can.
sent you what Rachel sent me. I forwarded it to you and it worked perfect.
Well, I'll look. Let's see.
Or you could look later and see if it worked, but in
But
that, anyhow, to use that, you have to click on it and ask for permission to go in, and then Rachel will give you permission to go in and you can go right in. But so after the meeting, you can
Or
look.
she already has. Yeah.
And when I looked in my sent folder, I see it all there and like to the left side where you can click on everything and
I don't
I don't-
understand, but there was nothing. So let me see what I will get on this
We'll
email.
work our way. Yeah, we'll work our way through it if we can.
Rachel, are you able to look at the Google Drive document for it right now?
but yeah, I can.
Cool.
Let me just pull up I'm working off my home computer. Let me pull up my laptop.
'Cause I didn't get the link either. And if you just go there and click the share button, you could paste that into the chat for this meeting. And we can all just click on that link and be looking at it immediately.
2 seconds. Give me a second and I will get in there.
Okay, it's on this thing Michael sent me. I'm looking at
Okay.
Michael's email.
Well,
Well, if that's the case, Michael, can you send me a copy?
we'll
too?
work.
I'm going to charge you for my copies.
Sorry, Rachel.
I will do this right now.
I'm sorry, guys. I feel
Forward.
so really bad.
to Steve. I don't know if I have your email in here. I tried it one day. Oh, I do. Steve Workman. There it is. Okay. Send.
Oh, I have to create an account. I'll worry about all that crap later. But at least I got something to
Yeah.
work with.
No, it said create an account and I didn't do it. I just clicked on it. It said ask for permission. I clicked on that button. Rachel's email came back with permission and I went right into it. I didn't create an account or anything.
Well,
But-
I'm on my
Later.
tablet. I was looking at the email on the tablet and I've never
Oh,
figured
I
out
see
what
what you're doing.
Apple does. So I'll just try a different system and see if I get away with it. You were doing it on Windows 10.
Okay.
Michael?
Okay, yeah. So we're on page 15. Are we getting close here, guys? Oh, Lord.
We only got about 10 more to go. Where are we? We're on the PDF.
No, but no, because we don't have to do anything with the addendum in the counting room. We still got like 5 pages here to go.
Okay.
So if I look at page 15, 526 and 527 are fine, except it says entity and staff will be available at the deadline for voting, which is, says 4:30 PM. What did we decide is going to be the language we use instead of that?
Closing.
All right.
Close of business or office closing or something like that.
We'll say close of business. I don't mind doing that. We should use the same thing wherever we decide to take out that 4:30 business. We should be consistent. So then if we come down to 528, I have the add of unless the election is conducted by a third-party vendor, and it should be OR, not ER. In that case, the vendor, OR, will issue replacement ballots. Then it goes on to say if a member has not received a ballot or lost their ballot, staff will issue a replacement ballot. A list of replacement ballots will be kept and the master registration spreadsheet must be updated. Confirmation of the current owner needs to be confirmed. A person may not pick up or request is added a replacement ballot for someone else. That's why I like using a third-party vendor, is they do the confirmation when that is. Otherwise, staff gets involved. They have to keep ballots up there. They have to keep a list up there. It's why I think it's time we move to a third-party vendor to handle our elections, period. Even if we never go online, because otherwise you have to have, you have to have staff up there to be able to stop what they're doing, stop their everyday activities. And I know it's only for about a month that they've got to do it, but they still have to stop what they're doing and basically help somebody that wants a replacement ballot. And they have to register it. It also gets registered on our registration sheet if someone's gotten a replacement, and the third-party vendor sends us the list of those people who they have sent replacement ballots to. Just in case that's a question of somebody's. So we're at 8:30 here, guys. Do we want to keep going or do we want to call it quits?
1, 2, 3. We got 4 more pages and then we're to the addendum.
Oh, but there's lots of stuff on them. What do you think, guys?
Why don't we try to address where we are at up to page, what is it? We're on page 15.
Yep.
if we could all kind of go in with the notes that we have on our own and dress this up through to the end of page 15, and then come back together and start again, because we've got there's a lot of stuff that has to be gone from the PDF to the Word or to the Google Doc, however we're going to do it, to get it all on one page so we can see it all
Yeah.
on one page. Because I got 3 pages open here and I'm getting lost. They all say different things on
So
them.
do we want to do that and just take it up at the next meeting we have, or do we want to have a meeting in the middle of April if we can squeeze one in somewhere?
I'm amenable either way.
I'm fine with either way.
Either way.
Let's see, because our next meeting is on you know what we can do? We're gonna quit at the bottom of page 15 here. We're gonna do a stop. We'll take a look at the last little changes that go on that page. And then we can all go into Google Docs and, like you say, Michael, do the other changes that we see throughout, and we'll just pick up on the 26th.
Okay, at 6:30.
And if anybody's having trouble, we can work through our troubles, and it will give us time to work through our troubles. And then hopefully we can all get on Google Docs and it'll all be good.
I
To-
just sent the link in the chat too, for everyone.
Wait,
In the chat?
in the chat.
Oh. Okay, do I need to have permission too?
I did this where it said copy link, and everyone that clicks on this link should have permission. So let's try it. Click on it, see if you have permission. Because you,
Can I, but that means I can only have it on this laptop. Can I get permission onto another system?
So to make that work, Nancy, you have to have an account. So just a regular, like a Gmail account, if you have that,
Yeah.
you can give that to Rachel and she can just grant you permission to that email address. It doesn't have to be a Gmail address. It can, I believe, be any address. But once she gives you those permissions, you'll be able to log in with that and have access anywhere.
Oh, that's why I didn't have to make an account. I have a Gmail address.
Yep, that would do it.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
The other thing I want to just suggest, instead of stopping at the bottom of page 15, why don't we continue just a little further? Because 5.2 ends at 5.2.17, and then we can just pick up from 5.3.
Oh, I see what you're saying, till we get down to budget only. Okay, that works. I agree, we can do that. So the only change in, in 5.2.9 is I added an asterisk there, which says that this doesn't happen if it's done by a third-party vendor. 5.2.10 has one of those asterisks, and it says replacement ballots must arrive at the administration office or at the vendor's office before close of business on the Friday before the election. And then 5.2.11 is each replacement ballot request shall be recorded by staff or by vendor and tracked by the member's division and lot number in order to guard against errors. And then the last change on that page is 2 of them are just asterisks in front of 5.2.13 and 5.2.14.
okay. I have to create an account. Okay.
sorry, Nancy.
Hey
That's
Nancy,
okay.
can you wait until we get through just these last 2 little things? And then we're gonna talk. I just need to have a quick visit with you guys about two things, and then we, if we want, we can go into this Google Docs thing. How's that for a plan?
We're gonna
That
stop it.
sounds good. Or I just wanted to see if it would work, and it won't for me because I don't have
Oh.
an email address, but I can get one. And
Yep.
if you send me the link tomorrow, by then I'll have it.
So we're gonna stop at 5.2.
Oh, cool, then Michael works. What now?
We are stopping at 5.217.
No, yes, 1.6, but yeah, you're right, it should be 5.217, yes. And that, there's no change in the top of that page. But then it says a member can also register and vote the morning of the AGM or SGM meeting. Is that where, Stephen, you'd maybe like to add that you get a special ballot?
Yes, I think that would be a good place to put it.
A special ballot will be issued.
Oh.
Okay.
You know, because then it says it there and it's other, you know, and like I say, when they get their I know you wanted to put it somewhere, and I think that would, this place would be the very perfect place to put that a special, they're going to get a special ballot.
Sounds good to me. The other thing I wanted to
Okay,
mention-
Nancy, you all caught up with us?
Mhm.
Linda, I know you want to talk about something else here in just a
Okay.
moment, but before we jump over to that, I do want to mention,
Okay.
since not everyone's used to Google Docs, at the top right below the share button is a drop down you can click on to go into edit mode or suggest. We will all want to do suggestion. Otherwise, we're going to be editing each other's as we go, and it's going to cause problems.
So you want me to do suggest, not edit?
Only one person should actually do edit. And I think, Nancy, you're the one that should do edit, unless Rachel's the one that actually makes the updates. Everyone else should do suggest.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Ooh,
on
that's.
this
all right,
Me
so
neither,
let's
Nancy.
make
Bad
let's-
thing. I will suggest.
Okay. So may I just share my screen real quick and I can show you the button I'm talking about?
Okay.
Okay. I won't know that my computer will hold up that long, but
So right over here, you got the share button. Right below it is this drop down. We want to be on suggesting.
oh, see there, Nancy, how?
No, because I just,
Sorry.
because it was, show me again where you, I say
Sure.
suggesting, but what did you hit to do that?
So if you look, the share button's the easiest one to find because it's big and blue on the right hand side. Right below that is a little drop down box. Depending on the mode you're in, it does different stuff.
Yeah.
So we all want to be on suggesting, not on editing. If you're on editing, it's a pencil. If you're on viewing, it's an eyeball, which I now just lost permission, but that's fine. I'll put it back. So basically, we just want to make sure we're all on suggesting.
Okay, that thing that
Yep.
looks like a
Okay.
mountain or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay, I found it.
Cool.
Suggesting.
Okay.
Sorry, as I said, I use Google Docs all the time, and Zoom is a program I use all the time for work. So
Everything I edited in Word wasn't savable because it was a read-only document. All right. Sweet.
just a minute, I'm writing a note to myself for when I'll go into Google Docs tomorrow after I get back from Best Buy. So we're gonna stop here and we're gonna take up at our next meeting, we're gonna take up at section 5.3, correct?
correct.
Okay. Just a minute. So the thing that Nancy sent an email to all of us, and I guess I want to talk to the board to see if they want to move forward with the bylaw change for this year about doing away with this member in good standing. The board has gotten some responses. I want to say, unless somebody has more than we do as a board, that they're sort of evenly distributed. Some people think people should be in good standing to vote on everything. And other people say, no, everybody should be able to vote on everything. So I guess it's sort of, I'm going to ask them if they want to move forward and let the membership vote on it as a whole, or if they don't want to do it, because I kind of got the impression from Nancy that why does N&E want to do all the extra work you have to do for online voting if we don't take away the whole thing of, if we take away the option of needing to be a member in good standing, we no longer have to have a staff person with us when we register ballots. There need to be at least 2 N&E people, and we need to have a room reserved. But the only reason staff is there is they have the delinquency list. And so it will simplify things with doing online voting. Otherwise, we need to hear from one of these companies of, well, then how do we do that? I still haven't gotten back with Votegrity until we had this discussion, and I need to know how you all feel.
I think we can push the bylaw amendment or promote the bylaw amendment as a fairness issue, because it's the only way, voting for board members are the only way to vote on budget now, thanks to community
that's true.
associations, institutes, hijacks,
Yeah.
and the original bylaws wanted everybody to be able to vote on the budget, whether or not you were in good standing. So to me, it's just a fairness issue. And I really believe
fairness
that
issue.
whole good standing thing is a voter suppression move. Because when you look at the people who will probably be not voting for the board that's wanted to raise their bylaws because, or wanted to raise their dues, and would rather vote for
Yeah,
somebody who would have lesser dues, you know, and if you say you have to be in good standing to be able to vote on the board, you've basically limited who's going to be voting and kind of trimmed out the people who might vote against you
Yep.
by putting in that. I know that wasn't very coherent,
No,
but,
absolutely. It was-
but I do think it was a
No,
voter
but
suppression.
there is some issue to that. You know, we're now down the last time, January, and January is always a bad month, but we're down to 86.4% of dues payers. So people usually get caught up by the AGM, but I'm saying right now, we have a lot of people that aren't current and paying their 95%. We're only, you know, that's what they set the level of dues for this year. And when we got our report at our last board meeting, we were only at 86.4%.
And that's what they were
You know,
anyway. So yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I think we all have.
and that was a concern of why we made the bar, set the bar so high at 95%. Of course, nobody saw the pandemic coming at that time either. You know, when they set the budget, but it's just, Huh?
Weren't we in the pandemic when they did that? I mean, this has been going on for a year now. That happened in November, so I don't think we can try and say we didn't see that
But
pandemic
see,
happening at that
But
time.
we mailed out ballots in September.
Right, the pandemic's been on for a year now.
So no, the pandemic wasn't on.
We were in the pandemic when they had the budget set up at 95%, because I remember all the emails, people going, you can't set it at 95% when we don't know the end of this pandemic. People are out of work. I've been on unemployment for a year and out of work for a year and a half. So,
They raised it to 95% last year. Last year we were in the pandemic,
in the middle of it, yes,
in the middle of it so far. I mean, we don't know how much longer it's gonna go.
yes. And as I said earlier, they're talking about pulling us back in 30 days or so if the numbers don't change. Or at least the health department is already discussing that, so.
So am I the only ones who thinks that the bylaw would?
I'm all for it.
pass?
I think it's voter suppression set up by people that wanted to remain in power. That was the whole point of that clause in there.
The only benefit that I can see to retaining it, and this is me probably playing devil's advocate here, because I agree, I think it's voter suppression as well. But in order to get people to actually pay their dues, they have to pay the dues to be able to vote. And once you remove that leverage, then there's no point in paying your dues, other than, the liens and other big problems that come with that. But, that's another problem.
I mean, in all honesty, just voting, if I had trouble paying my dues, being able to vote would be a non-issue
Yeah.
to me, just a non-issue. I'd have other things on my mind.
More issues going on than just being able to vote. Yes, I agree.
Okay, so we're gonna kind of ask them if we want to move forward with that bylaw change. I'll try and put a good spin on it about the fairness of letting us do that and at least put it on the ballot to allow people to vote on it. I think, let the membership vote. If they say, if we don't get the 60%, the 2/3%, hey, guess what? We'll
Doesn't
still be doing what we're doing,
Yep. I
but it
think
gives the membership a chance to vote on it.
the homeowner should be voting on it.
Okay, the other thing, the other question that I have for you all is, did you all take a look? Lori, I don't know if you,
Uh-oh. I think we lost Linda.
The timing
Well-
was perfect.
I can answer and say, until 6:30 tonight is the first time I was able to even open my binder. I'm super busy, and I was gone for the weekend for the first time in months. So I haven't honestly looked at anything. So poor Linda. I
Yeah.
can email her that though. Let her know I haven't had a chance to really even look at anything. But I have my binder.
Did we lose Linda again?
Yes,
All the
you
way
did.
this time.
We did.
What else were we going to talk about?
She wanted to talk to us about something.
Yeah.
Isn't it in the agenda?
Where's the agenda?
Have that open.
The next part of the agenda is online voting discussion, followed by the next meeting, April 26th, and then adjournment.
She wanted to add third-party vendor to number 5, online voting discussion too.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she wants to ask if we like Unilect. Like, I liked Unilect. If somebody asked me, would I vote for Unilect right now, I'd say yes. Am I the only one who feels that way, or somebody else?
I like the Unilec. I talked with them on the phone because I screwed up my ballot, and I thought they handled it all very well.
What you did, Michael. That was they handled it with professionalism and got you the new ballot, right?
I have trouble understanding you, Lori.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that any better?
Yeah,
I remember Michael having a problem with his ballot last year. You were able to get that corrected and done in a professional way, right?
Yep. Yeah, I liked Unilec. I thought the gal, Christine, I think was her name, was very professional. She did a good job. They corrected a couple little issues in that, calling in for replacement ballots this year, and it won't happen next year. But to weigh in on the other issue, I am against online voting. So
I'm not fond of it either. I
I'm
still
also-
want the bylaw change, though.
Yeah,
I mean-
I'm completely against it. We need the paper trail.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
We need to stuff.
I think we need to separate the bylaw change from the need for online voting, though. Because if people think we're doing the bylaw change in order to do online voting, they might vote against it just because they
Absolutely.
don't like online voting.
yes, absolutely.
I mean, even though I'm part of trying to help frame this, if it's positioned that way, I can tell you now, I'm going to vote against it.
Against,
If it's linked together, the bylaw change also making it so it's online voting, I will vote against that. Like I cannot in good conscience do it.
Linda might be back. See this little bitty bottle? I'm going in for cataract surgery. This is a bottle of eye drops. It's less than an ounce. I think it's actually less than a half an ounce. $300 for anti-inflammatory eye drops.
good luck on your cataract surgery. When do you do it?
I'm going to have it done this Thursday on the left eye and 2 weeks later on the right eye. It is amazing. They actually go in, make a little teeny 1/16 of an inch slit in your above your iris, and they suck or they shatter the lens that's in there somehow, and they suck it out, and then they put in another piece of little lens, and they can actually put your prescription for your glasses into that little lens and put it in there, and you never need glasses again. And you're healed in 2 weeks. I was just like, you can really do that? And they go, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Amazing. And I've talked to 5 or 6 people, friends of mine, they've had it done. They said, you'll love it. It's amazing how clear you'll see.
My husband's got cataracts or is starting them. He
Yeah.
was very disappointed to hear from the optometrist, but I'll tell him about the lens thing. Maybe that'll make him.
There's three levels. You can go in and just do the basic cataract surgery, and they just put in a clear lens, and you still have to have glasses, and it costs $225 per eye. If you have the prescription put in, they'll either set you up near or farsighted, and it costs $2,200 an eye. Or they can do the whole banana and fix you up with perfect 20/20 vision like you were 6 years old, but it's $3,000 per eye.
Ooh,
I'm doing the $225. I can buy a lot of glasses for $4,500.
I've worn glasses my whole life. I don't know what I'd do without them actually. And they've saved my eyes a couple times because I've been beating on a rock or something and chips have blown off.
My glasses, I always get prescription safety glasses because I'm a mechanic and I'm always around something flying around the damn room,
Yep.
grinding, chipping, hammering, whatever, dust from blowing stuff off or whatever. I always have safety glasses.
I just heard from Linda. She said she will not be able to reconnect. So can someone please adjourn the meeting?
You shot her computer?
I drew on my watch. My grandson has my phone and I can just tell by her exclamation she's had it.
Yeah.
Steve,
So, because we didn't get to finish the discussion and we talked about maybe trying to do the Google Doc and we had another discussion point we didn't get to, can we postpone and reconvene on like the 12th? Because on the 12th, that would be after Michael's surgery and before he gets the next one, he'll be able to see.
April 12th. I just need to double check on the meetings.
what's the 12th? Let me look. What day of the week?
Monday.
Oh, that's a
The
Monday.
2 weeks from today.
I thought Linda said we would just stop where we were at, get everything edited up to 15 dot whatever it was, and come back on at the 26th.
I agree, but she had more she wanted to cover, which we didn't get to. So
Okay.
we can try and schedule the meeting, and then if it's not necessary, we can just cancel it and do the 26th.
All right, I'll second that.
Is it clear for that day, Rachel? You were
I've
checking.
got to get into the 2 different Zoom accounts that we have.
Of course.
So we'll tentatively say the 12th and then I'll look into it when we're all done and I'll email you guys if for some reason we can't, and I'll let Linda know.
Just to kind of step in here, the only thing I'm aware of on Mondays coming up, I know at some point there is a PTR subcommittee, but I'm not sure if that's on that Monday or if it's when exactly that is. I'd have to double check that, but that seems like a pretty decent day.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry for committing both you, Rachel, and you, John, to trying to do this again here in 2 weeks. I'm really sorry about that, but
Okay, we'll beat you for it later, Michael.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve,
You deserve it.
now you should beat me because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me look. I'm in the one account and we're looking at upcoming. I don't see anything on the 12th. Okay. Let me get in the other account really quick.
While you're digging into that, I think Lori, I'm not sure the right way to say your name. I apologize.
It's Lori.
Lori, okay. You had something, you were raising a hand.
You said it.
Cool.
Okay. Right now I know we're clear for the 12th, either way, on either Zoom account.
Okay, so yeah, why don't we just do same bat time, same bat channel?
Okay.
2 weeks, 12 o'clock, the 12th at 6:30.
Okay, fair enough.
Rachel,
let-
would you try and resend the Google Doc to my Comcast account?
I did. While we were in here, I just sent the link to you, so hopefully you can get in there. I have an appointment in the morning, had a recent death in my family, so I have some things to take care of tomorrow, but I'll be in the office in the afternoon. And then I'll touch base with you to make sure that you were able to get in and stuff.
Okay, I'm just gonna set up a Google account, a Gmail account before I even open it.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'll do it that way.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
I
you.
make a motion that we adjourn then for the evening.
Second,
Yes,
Okay.
bye-bye.
the
Bye,
meeting-
guys.
Third,
We
fourth,
don't want to
fifth,
say, like,
and
the meeting comes
sixth.
to a
Okay, we'll see you on the
close.
12th.
Okay.
The meeting
Like-
comes to a close at 8:55.
Thank you.